So here we go. Got a little bit of glare here, but that's not terrible. I'm going to start by taking the strings off, and I want to see what we have here. Oh, that E string just broke. I was gonna... Okay. So one of the challenges of working on an SG is the headstock angle, which as you can see is like kind of funky. And so if I set the guitar down like this, there's a lot of pressure being put right now on the headstock. So I don't want to do that. I want to move it down off the end of the table. And then the other thing is, right now the neck is hanging out here, and that's because of this guy on the back, so that's got to come off. Considering this guitar is 13 years old, it's actually in pretty good condition. There's a small ding right here, but it's barely noticeable. Okay, so now we are indeed truly flat. I'm pretty certain these are classic Alnico or Alnico Classic. These are not Pro Buckers. Now, hopefully I'm right. You can get these at like craft stores and stuff. These are really good for working on guitars. So that's been my theory. My theory has been that these are classic Alnico mudbuckers. And we're gonna find out in just a second here if I'm right. If they're Pro Buckers, I'm gonna be embarrassed because they don't sound like Pro Buckers to me. Our survey says G400 neck. Okay, this is not a Pro Bucker. Definitely not a Pro Bucker. All right. Should remove this while I'm thinking of it. There's a, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a wire here that's holding these guys all down. I don't want to lose that wire. And these just say G400, which I'm pretty sure makes them the Alnico Classic, aka Mudbucker. So the next thing I want to do is I kind of want to get an idea. There is definitely some fret flattening in these frets here. So if you're playing the A position, it's hard to see, but I can feel it. After you take the strings off, if you want to do a level crown, you have to make sure first the fretboard is level. We do that with a notched straight edge. This particular notched straight edge is from Neck Check guitar. This side is for Les Paul, this side is for a Strat. So it's notched so that the notches go where the frets are. And then it's really important to stick your head over the neck and make sure that you are going right down the center.
The notched straight edge should touch the fretboard in every spot. If the notched straight edge isn't touching the fretboard, we use our hex wrench to adjust the truss rod until the neck is as flat as possible.
And you want it to be straight because what we're going to do is we're going to mark the tops of the frets and then we're going to level them. I almost forgot something. The nut. What I want to do is I want to take the nut off because when we're sanding, I don't want to be restricted down here where I have to, I want to be able to go farther than this nut. So I want to take this nut off. And in order to do that, I can use a little knife here. And I just want to score this here a little bit and then score it down here just a little bit, really carefully. All right. And then the goal here is to put the block of wood like this and then gently tap it, and hopefully this will come off cleanly. Let's see how I do. Perfect. That came off super easy. Here's our slot. It looks like it was held in with a little bit of glue. So when we're done, I'll just glue that back in place. That'll be easy. That came off super easy. Now I'm gonna tape up the fretboard. Ta-da! So now the next thing, I'm hoping one of these markers works, and I'm gonna mark the tops of the frets. Oh, that'll work nicely. Can you see that? No matter what camera angle I give you, there you can kind of see it. And the concept here is I'm gonna sand this down, and I can tell if there's any low spots on these frets, there will still be marker on it. So you keep sanding till all the marker's gone, and then the fretboard is truly flat. So part of the reason that you tape off the fretboard is because you don't want to get black Sharpie on your fretboard or on the neck. And another part of the reason is that you don't want to hit it with sandpaper, and you don't want metal shavings to get into the wood. And that's why we do it like this. Everything I've done so far is easy. The tricky part of fretwork is actually crowning it, because once these things are flat, I have to crown them. You don't want to play a guitar with flat frets because the strings will buzz. So now that that's done, we're going to get our leveling beam ready. This is an official StewMac, you can kind of read it there, StewMac leveling beam. So what you do with this guy is, this is rather heavy, and the concept is you put sandpaper on it, and you put it on the neck, and you go like this, and you level the frets. Right? Finally. So now we got the super sticky tape. You notice how the sandpaper isn't long enough, so just cut it down the middle. Does not have to be perfect. And then I'm just gonna do this. Okay, and then right in there. Flip it over, push down, cut the excess. Just gonna take a pair of scissors and kind of cut off the excess on both sides. What you could do is put it down on like a table you don't care about and use the X-Acto knife and cut it that way, but I don't have a table I don't care about. So, see, it doesn't have to be perfect on the sides here. Where it does have to be good is this surface right here. And that surface right there is very, very flat. Okay, so basically what I've done is I've put books and the StewMac neck support and then books to basically create a perfectly flat surface. As I'm pushing down on the neck, I don't want to put any pressure here. I don't want to put any pressure here. So there's books under here, there's books under here. And mostly I'm just going to let the weight of this thing go ahead and sand the surface. But before I do that, there is one more thing I want to do. So as I'm doing this, I want to make sure that I'm not like using a bad angle, or that I'm not, going in some kind of circle. I want to follow the path of the string. And I just want to go until I don't see any magic marker anymore. I'm not really pushing down, I'm letting the weight of the sanding beam kind of apply the pressure. So sometimes I'll use a pair of cheaters like this. This is like reading glasses. I'll put these on so I can get like a closer look. And I'll tilt it sideways. It's going to be hard for the camera to see this, but I'm tilting it sideways and I'm looking to see. There's no magic marker on this fret. There's definitely some marker here. This is black right here. This is pretty black. These frets are clean. So definitely we are not where we need to be yet. There's some in through here, there's still some magic markers. So we're going to continue our process. Let's have a look now. Up here, this is black. These are black, very black. Yeah, the frets were in bad shape. Turns out, these frets were very uneven. So this may take a while. I'm gonna pause the video. You don't need to watch me do this for another 10 minutes. So the tops of the frets are now clean. And I just want to do a spot check around this area just to make sure that we're not off the mark. I want to make sure that these frets are level now. And we do that with the fret rocker again. Feels good. Now what about here? Yep. So I'm going to pause the camera. I'm going to go through basically everything and just kind of check it to make sure everything's level, but pretty sure it will be. So for the fret crowning part, we're going to use this special fret crowning file. You can see how it's bent to be used like this. And then also you can see, well, you can't really see, but this is diamond encrusted. So this file is crazy expensive at StewMac. But what I have discovered is that the diamond encrusted files leave much smaller scratches. So this is like the least intrusive way to shape the top of the frets. So to shape the top of the frets, we must once again mark them up. And we're going to mark them up with a marker because we want to see where we've been. With a big black stripe across the top of each fret, what we want to do is use this fret crowning file to leave just a teeny tiny thin black line on top of each fret instead of a wide black line like it is right now. And the reason for that is that flat frets can cause string buzz. And so that thin black line we're going to end up with is called a landing zone, just like an airplane. They call that a runway actually, don't they? They don't call it a landing zone. Well, anyway, on a fret, call it a landing zone. So the idea is to leave a very, very small landing zone. How small? Everybody will give you a different answer to that. I would say a very thin black line, maybe along the size of like what a pen would leave. That's about accurate, I would say. Start down here. That's just about right. I want a thinner line though. Okay, that's about right. Oh, I don't want the thing falling. So I got a thin line there. I'm gonna go through all the frets, and I'm not gonna film that because it's gonna take me like 20 minutes to do this. So we'll come back when I'm done. So I present to you, ladies and gentlemen, sandpaper in water. This is wet dry sandpaper, which means you can use it wet or you can use it dry. Now, what I have found through personal experience is that when you are sanding the top of the frets, okay, to get rid of any kind of scratches, what you really want to do is you want to use wet sandpaper. Sandpaper that's been soaked in water, but not for like 5 or 10 minutes. I'm actually going to leave this in here for at least an hour. And then I'll try to get rid of all the scratches that I created with the sandpaper. Now, in terms of the scratches, when I was using the beam, I was going this way. But what I really want to do when I'm getting rid of all the scratches is I want to go this way.
And the reason is that when you're bending strings, that's the direction that the string is going to go. And so if there's micro scratches, I don't want them going this way. I want them going this way, like teeny tiny little lines. So I want them to be as smooth as possible, but I want to sand out the scratches this way. So yeah, we're going to give that a good hour, and then we'll come back. Okay, so it's been an hour. I've soaked these, and in terms of grit, I've got 600, 800, and 1200. So some would say I'm not sanding, I'm polishing. I'm just going to do the first one. I'm not really sure if starting with 600 is okay. Maybe I should start with like 320, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to play it safe and start with 600. I'm going to do the first fret, then I'm going to look at it under magnification, and if it looks okay, then we're going to go with it. So just kind of got these cut like finger size, and this is all I'm doing. Now I'm going to look at it under magnification. I'm going to see what I see. Do I see a lot of scratches, or is it smooth? And I'd say it is pretty smooth. I'd say reasonably good. Now 1200 is not going to be the end. I'm also going to take some cymbal cleaner at the very end and polish these to get them shiny. But I'm going to go ahead and go through the rest of these using the same procedure, 600, 800, 1200. There's a lot of different ways to do this. Basically, you're just trying to take any scratches and just kind of get rid of them. That's what you're trying to do. Now we get to this part. This is cymbal cleaner, and this is, well, part of an old t-shirt. It's clean though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the frets with this now, because all that sanding will leave this kind of residue. So as you can see, it's very effective. Done. Now I'm going to take all the tape off. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to glue the nut back on. 1 or 2 little drops should do. Oh yeah. So in case you're curious, I am using thick super glue. That's definitely going to hold. Should we oil the fretboard? What do you think? Yeah, why don't we do that? Let's oil the fretboard. Hang on. Ultimate lemon oil. Every time I use this, I have to use the same disclaimer. Some people say you shouldn't use lemon oil. Dunlop makes it. A lot of pro shop use it. I've used it for years. It's fine. So I'm not trying to drown the wood. I'm just going to get some in here, and then I'm going to rub it in. Now we're going to put on our Ernie Ball Slinky. This is 10 through 46, which is similar to what was on it when I bought it.
Okay, I didn't shoot video of it, but I replaced the classic Alnico pickup that was in there in the bridge position with a Pro Bucker. So I went from Mud Bucker to Pro Bucker, and I did record a couple of samples of it, and I'm going to play you the before and the after audio samples now.
So I have to say, I think this video clearly demonstrated the value of a good level crown, good fretwork, and a good pickup. The difference between the Alnico Classic Mudbucker and the Pro Bucker. To me, big difference. So that's just my opinion, of course. I'm really glad I went to the Orlando Guitar Convention. I'm really glad I found this guitar for under $300, and I'm really glad that I did the fretwork and the pickup upgrade, because it's definitely got a vibe. It sounds great. It looks great. Couldn't be happier. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again some future Friday at 5.